Okay, I have filmed this 3 times, and I'm starting over because I'm going over 5 minutes, and I'm going to try to keep it short. This says, I do miss it sometimes, talking about Iowa or living in the Midwest. This is a heavy question, but did you experience a lot of homophobia? I was afraid to be out as a bi woman there. Okay, so growing up, I went to school in a small town. I was not out till high school or in college, after college. I assumed a lot of homophobia, okay? So there was a gay man in my class. He follows me on here. I realized that a while ago. I followed him back just recently because I wasn't even thinking. And he didn't get the pass that I got, right? In retrospect, a lot of my friends from high school were like, oh, we knew, or we would have been fine with it had you come out. And I don't think that's really true because you look back with adult colored glasses and you're like, oh, I was really cool. I'd have been fine with it because now we're different, right? Things have changed. That's just not really true in my experience. He didn't get the pass, so he did get a lot of more snipes than I got. He got a little bit more of underhanded. What I didn't experience or didn't see, and he would have to correct me on this because this is coming from what I'm seeing, is overt, aggressive hate, like no beating up, no physical hands-on. And this, again, coming from what I saw, and so he would have to correct me on that. But I did hear a lot of like, the F word and like the D word and like, people would say things like, it grosses me out. It's perverted. It's against God's will. We would hear little things like that, and they're talking about us with me, but not knowing they're talking about me, or maybe they do, and they just think that's going to help me to change. I don't know, or they're just hearing it from their parents. They're hearing it from. So he would have to correct me on physical, but I never saw that, and I never felt physically, but I assumed homophobia in meaning that I didn't come out because I did fear that's the next step. The next step would be I'd be ostracized as a high schooler, as a teenager. That's really scary. So, but the culture was showing us on TV. There was either the, rah-rah gay rights, or there was we hate you and we want you dead. There was none of the news never showed the people in the middle who were like, I don't know, I just don't get it, whatever. Like, and most of America, I think, especially the Midwest, they're like, okay, I hate it, like it grosses me out, but they're not in my living room. So, but you absorbed a lot of that. So I didn't come out. When I got older, I bought my house here in '99. It's the rural country. I made myself immediately part of the community. I started to volunteer at places. I started to help out. I bought local. I had conversations with locals. When we had the kids, we were active in the school system. We were around all the time. It's super hard to hate people that you know, right? You can hate the whole idea of us, but when you're standing right in front of somebody, it's a lot harder. Not for everybody, because there's assholes. There's just assholes. And they're gonna hate whoever they hate. And you can't do anything about it. So it's like, but I don't care about my feelings don't get hurt like when I was younger. But now it's like I'm okay having my feelings hurt. If someone comes up to me and is like, you're perverted, and I don't know why you're the way you are, and you want to have that conversation, I'm open to that. It's fine if you want to. My feelings just you hurting my feelings is not going to kill me. But what does help is having that conversation, and that's something I did in my activism for years. So it's like now it's pretty easy to have. And if they don't change their mind, which I don't plan on them doing, okay, but we've had the conversation, so whatever. However, I know there are places in Iowa that are extremely scary. So I was just talking to the guys at the farm the other night, and one of them said, we just don't care. Like, we talked about my TikTok, and I'm like, here's what I do. And he's like, oh, and I would talk about being a lesbian, and he's like, I just don't, okay, like, nobody just cares. And he's like, you're right. A lot of people around here just don't care. And I think that's a general Midwestern thing. But you didn't say what region you're from. There are parts of Iowa that have a much more, the small contingent of true haters, aggressive haters, are the loudest voices. Here I have met politicians that you would think would just be screaming buttheads to me and had pretty good conversations. So it's hard when you're talking face to face. People lose their big bluster that they have when they're talking to their own contingent, when they're talking one-on-one. So sometimes that's good for them. So yes, I agree. There are parts of Iowa that I would absolutely not feel safe coming out in. And I know bisexual women face a lot of different stereotypes that is pushed on them, even in our own community. The pick one, or you're just confused, or you're going to end up with you just hear a lot of stuff that's different. So it's a little slightly different than mine, I'm sure. But yeah, there are parts of Iowa that would be more scary. But my county is 20 minutes from Cedar Rapids. It's 35 minutes from Iowa City, which is the gayest city in America, or at least very damn close because it's got a college and all that. And it's very progressive and stuff. So we have a little bit of that absorbs into my county. But the farther you get from that, I don't know. But I've traveled all over these small counties. I just don't, and part of it maybe it's just as I've gotten older, I just don't pay attention to it. Other than I am always there's a safety factor. You're paying attention to the people around you. I think that's partially because I'm a woman. And I'm small. I'm not very big. I don't carry a weapon. I'm not licensed to. Well, we don't have to be licensed to carry an Iowa, but I so I have my eyeballs. Like I'm alert, but I'm not crazy alert. And I feel pretty comfortable pretty much everywhere I went in Iowa. But that's not to say there aren't parts that aren't really scary. And I'm sorry you experienced that because I love this state. If you stuck around this long, thank you. And I hope it sheds some light on Iowa and on my experiences with homophobia.